you are.
Thank you very much. Firstly, I would like to express my gratitude to both IWAS and FEFU for organizing this and having me here, and especially to Dr. Lucan and Dr. Avive for that kind introduction. And I would also like to apologize for not being there throughout the session, given some work call, which cannot be compromised. So my heartiest apologies on that. So without further ado, I would like to put my deliberation on the topic that is given, that the end of an era of world politics, quite interesting. And I would like to start with a disclaimer that I see it more of a beginning of an era in world politics, and that's where I locate my case in point today, that is a rise of Asia in the changing world order. And much to the focus is very well of my talk will be on India and China. Now, as we see that the geopolitics today has shifted, and there's no doubt about it that what was erstwhile the proteges, let's say, of the West is now in the East. So the discourses on geopolitics or international relations are now taking an Asian discourse or focusing their attention on Asia. So this has raised the appetite or interest as to why Asia matters. And Asia definitely matters when it comes to 21st century, which is now also becoming synonymous, that can we call the 21st century to be that of Asian century. Now here I would like to say that when we talk about Asian century, it's not just about, limiting it to India and China that in terms of growth, but also other here. I'm talking about Asian century. It's Asia that's factoring, and within Asia, it is a select number of countries which are making a lot of difference. Now, I would also like to draw your attention that what has changed now, what was erstwhile that, how we studied international relations or power dynamics, it was mainly looked at from great power politics. So the vision was very narrow. But today, if I put it and bring Asia, it is no more dominated by great power politics. If you see, now case in point is India and China. They are erstwhile colonies. India was colonized by Britain and China, of course, semi-colonized. And today they are taking the reins in, I would like to argue that, they are making the changes, or they are the change makers as well as trend setters in world politics today. Now, what makes India and China significant in defining the contours of 21st century against all other Asian countries? Firstly, economy as point in focus. China, a rising power, or can we say now almost can we argue to be has risen, and India is an emerging power. And here the shift lies that India now is the fastest growing economy at a 6.1% rate, and China is now growing at a lower pace, but still a growing economy at a 5.2%, which sets them apart when we talk about world economies. And India also has transcended in fifth world economy, replacing United Kingdom. Second is, how are they making changes to the world order? Now, erstwhile what we saw as West-led institutions, which came out of Washington Consensus. Today we are saying Asian countries are becoming the leaders in not just norm setting, but also institutional building. So specifically where we are talking about South-South discourse, which was erstwhile just limited to North-South, or just North-North. But today, because of these two Asian countries, we are seeing South-South discourse. So the outcome being BRICS, outcome being visa, outcome being, when we talk about AGC corridor or China's led or institutions like AIIB. Now, in this rubric of thought, we are seeing both India and China are engaging in the discourse, are partnering in international systems, be it climate change or financial institutions. So they are setting new forms or new kind of norms, which is also relevant when we talk about the Russia-Ukraine conflict, that, not choosing a side or taking an abstention position also is a big change maker. And both India and China have had their positions very, well spelled out. That how do we see this discourse shaking? So, especially with regard to India, I would like to suggest that let us go back to the Cold War. We all had a non-alignment mentality, and still we focus on that. So we practice our strategic autonomy and as well as our independent foreign policy thinking. That also sets us apart. So we are not part of any club. Now, while these are about partnership or similar kind of trends that are defining the rise of Asia, the other aspect, which is a little contentious, is actually becoming much more of a characteristic feature today, if I say, of the Indo-Pacific, that is the India-China boundary dispute, which for long got an oversight from the international community. But today we are seeing that countries are taking, be it in Western countries, be it US or European countries, they are taking special interest in knowing about what lies ahead in India and China border. As you are all aware of, we are in a stalemate situation with the Eastern Ladakh border standoff, though some agreements have been reached out in settling our friction points, but there's a long way to go. And India has made its position very clear that till the time we don't settle the border, the ties cannot go back to the same normal. So in this relations also, we are seeing the change, which is having an impact on the geopolitics of 21st century. And why I say so, because the binary dynamics, where we are saying that till the time we don't settle the border, the ties are not going to be stable. So unstable India-China ties is not favorable to 21st century geopolitics. And why I say so, because the boundary dispute today is and has emerged as a geopolitical hotspot when I say of Indo-Pacific. And also this brings us to the larger debate in Asia, the instability or the factors that contribute to instability, that is South China Sea, East China Sea, and India-China boundary dispute. So all these aspects, they reinforce the argument that, the rise of Asia or Asian countries are making a great deal of difference, or rather shaping the contours of 21st century geopolitics. And this is the beginning of an era. We are seeing multipolarity. So it is not just about few countries about having the past. Smaller countries have greater, currency today to make a difference or may bring about a shift. Either they balance or bandwagon. So your size of the country really doesn't matter today. It's about where do you stand on the table. Secondly, the geopolitical hotspot, which can destabilize a region, which today, as we speak, we are talking about the shift of security architecture from Asia Pacific to Indo-Pacific. So definitely, India and China are making the difference, while through their engagement, but also with their discord. So on that note, I would like to rest my case, and if there are any questions, I will like to take before I leave. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jash, for the
Actually, I have a question, if I may.
Okay, sure, please. Dr. Lukenia, please go ahead.
Maybe I am abusing my my role as a co-moderator, but I can't help but ask you, Dr. Jash, you mentioned this keyword, multipolarity. So do you actually believe that the current world order can be described as a multipolar one? Thanks.
I definitely, and I'm affirmative about it. And India is one of the main poles in that multipolar order, to assert my viewpoint. So definitely it is not unipolar world as we speak. Thank you.